Hi guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the fuel distributor. Well, this is the heart of the system. And as you know, as you take your air filter housing off, then you're going to see this part. It's something, it rests something like this. Now, to take it off from your car, it's not from my car, it's from some other car. The first thing you want to do is to unbolt the hose from the cold start valve, and then you unbolt this one, and then you unscrew these three, the metal hoses leading to the injectors. And I must say something again. The principle is the same no matter for 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder or 12-cylinder engines. You have only more cylinders, more parts, but the basis is the same. You know this is the HA valve. You unclip it, and now as you unscrew all these parts, this one, and this one, then you can take it off. That's it. So this part is the heart of the system. It's everything for the KE-Jetronic. So it consists of the lower chamber, the upper chamber, and here you have a sealant, a gummy sealant that is called a diaphragm. This is the fuel pump filter. And now, let's see what's what. You know this part, the fuel pressure regulator. This is the line to the fuel pressure regulator. This is the differential pressure line, and it goes here to the fuel pressure regulator, and that's how the differential pressure is measured. That's the difference between the pressure in the lower and in the upper chamber, and it is 0.4 bar. And here in the middle you have the plunger. Here. As you take this off, the next thing you want to do you will unscrew these two. I can now say that someone has been messing around with this part, because these two have to be Torx bolts and they're flat. They're for the flat screwdriver. No matter, we'll take them off. And now, be very careful. Be very careful not to lose these two O-rings. As this guy, the EHA valve, rests like this. If you lose these two green O-rings, you will have a fuel leak. So they have to be here. Pay attention to that. Now let's come to the fuel distributor itself. Why should you take this part off? If you decide to do this, to take it off, you will take it off because you will have a non-flexible acceleration, loss of power, and an increased fuel consumption. Logical. It can come to the internal leak because you have this diaphragm inside and it can be ruptured. As soon as the diaphragm is ruptured, there won't happen the metering here between these two chambers, and you will have fuel leak. If you smell gasoline inside the engine bay, and if you have fuel leaks, then that is the sign that you should take off the fuel distributor. Now, all of you have seen this part, how it looks like from above, and from underneath it looks like this. In order to unscrew these four screws, you will need Torx Allen key T20. And here, let me unscrew this one. This is the protection screw, and here you have this Allen screw inside. If it is 3 millimeters, 4, 2, I don't know, I don't remember, and I don't want to know. The thing you should know that under no circumstances, and I repeat this again, under no circumstances touch these 4 bolts, 4, 6, 8 or 12. Never. Because this bolt preloads the spring inside the lower chamber, and if you touch them as you want, if you don't measure them, then you won't have the same quantity of fuel flowing to the cylinders, so you won't be having a good running engine. It will shake on idle, it won't accelerate as it should, a loss of power again, and of course the higher consumption. So I repeat, under no circumstances touch these 4 bolts. Now let's talk something about these 4 differential pressure bolts. You see, if you don't have the equal flow flowing through your cylinders, then you will have to reset these 4 bolts. For this operation, you will be needing Torx T20 to loosen these caps, and now for this screw you will be needing Allen key 3mm. Now look, why should you do this, and what's happening when you screw and unscrew these bolts inside? As much as they're screwed in like this, the more pressure the valve from the lower chamber is going to be making pressure on the valve on the upper chamber. So the more pressure on the valve, the less movement, and the less movement means less flow to the cylinders. I don't know if there is any other way how to calibrate this flow, but to take this Allen screw, and you must be careful, they are very sensitive, and you put it here always like this at 12 o'clock, and now you turn 3 turns in, you screw in. Now, 1, 2, 3, and now you're turning in as long as it stops. Here, it won't go harder than this. And don't go like crazy, because you're going to damage either the ceramic plate or you're going to damage the nozzle. Now, you turn like this, the fuel distributor. And now you turn 3.5 turns counterclockwise. So, 1, 2, 3, and 3.5, and you stop. And that's how you do it for each of these 4 screws. As you finish, then you take the caliper and you measure the distance. Here. And that's how you do for each of those. And you must get the same distance from the screw to this point where you measure it. And that's the way how you calibrate the unit. You have to do the same thing for all of them. Now let's do the same thing with this one. So we stick the Allen key and we turn. You can turn it as soon as it starts going harder. Here. Don't turn anymore. Now. Here at 12 o'clock. One, two, three, and a half. Now, the caliper here. I already don't get the same value. 12. There. Look how free they are moving. So that's why I told you not to touch these bolts. Just leave them like that. For these 8, you will need Torx Allen key T27 here, and you can then unscrew them. But before you unscrew these 8, you will have to take off the shim, this thing, and the screw. Now look at this shim. It's curved here. You will have to take some screwdriver that won't damage it, and you must then straighten this shim. As you straighten it, don't just unbolt this thing. The next thing you have to do is to measure the gap between the screw and the protecting nut. You take here this caliper and something like this. You will have to, once again, you will have to measure the gap between these two. And it shows here 0.7 or 0.8 millimeters. Well, as Bosch says, the gap between this nut and the screw must be 0.6 millimeters. You measure your distance, your gap, and note that distance, because then you can then unscrew this bolt and this nut, and then you can do the rest. But let me just tell you, this plunger is connected, so to speak, with the airflow sensor plate, and they counterbalance themselves like this. As the plunger goes up, the plate goes down, and as the plunger goes down, the plate goes up. So that is the starting position of the plunger that you are determining with this bolt. You see, if this bolt is screwed too much, then the sensor plate is going to go down. If this one is unscrewed to the max, then the plate is going to go up and it will stay firmly, so that when you crank the engine, you won't be able to start the engine, because no air will be able to flow inside. And that's how you determine that starting position of this plunger. Now, as you, for example, unscrewed everything, this nut, this bolt, and you took away this shim, and then you can take out this plunger. The next thing you want to do, you're going to see the barrel inside which the plunger is located, and there is a curve, and this curve is pointed towards this cylinder. So as you reinstall the part again, you must put it on its place. So this concludes the first part on the fuel distributor. In the second part, you're going to be watching how the fuel distributor is being disassembled. If you like this video, then please like it, share it, comment it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. And till the next time, happy Mercedesing. Bye.